Everyone, I hope you're as excited as I am for this AI and Translation Summit. I can't wait to dive with you into the future of translation productivity as we explore how AI and large language models have the power to transform the way you work in your CAT tool. Using Trados as an example, we're going to look at what new capabilities have been recently released and will supercharge your translation process and enhance your consistency and accuracy, and take a look at what the future may bring. Not just the hype, but actual usability. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Lopes and I'm currently serving as a principal product manager at Team Trados. I embarked on my professional journey in this industry 20 years ago, originally starting in customer support. Since 2014, I'm in the product management group, where originally I was responsible for Trados Group Share and the terminology products. And since 2018, I took on responsibility for the overall Trados Cloud platform in collaboration with other product managers, as well as specifically focused on the Trados Enterprise product line. First, to make sure that we're all understanding of what we're talking about, we'll start with a short introduction into Linguistic AI. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, you've probably known that AI stands for artificial intelligence. Although we've seen an explosion of AI recently, it's been around for many years, since the 1950s in fact. Back then there was interest in getting the computer to mimic problem-solving skills of a human. This is also what kickstarted an interest in Linguistic AI, which is also known as Natural Language Processing AI. These terms refer to systems and technologies that are designed to understand, process, generate, and interact with human language. The kind of stuff that science fiction films have been showing us for years. Natural processing research led to the development of machine translation technology from the early rule-based systems through to statistical and then neural machine translation. In more recent times, Linguistic AI has taken off with new systems that can generate feedback to prompts that are given. So what Linguistic AI capabilities can be embedded into computer-assisted translation tools? Linguistic AI can offer many different use cases, such as machine translation, generative AI, and virtual assistant. Let's look at each of those in a little more detail. Starting with machine translation, as I mentioned earlier, machine translation is a form of AI that has been around for decades. As you know, there have been many iterations of machine translation, from rules-based to statistical and most recently to neural. As the technology has become smarter and more reliable, more and more translators have come to trust and utilize this form of AI. The benefits of using machine translation are becoming clearer, for example. Machine translation providers are now integrated with Trados CAT tools and TMSs, making it easier than ever to connect and leverage machine translation while working. If you look at our own machine translation, Language Reever for example, we have included an allowance of machine translation in all our Trados editions, enabling all customers to try machine translation risk-free and giving all customers the option of translating everything automatically. This alleviates any challenges with integrating machine translation into translation workflows, as it is available out of the box with no need for API setup or additional subscriptions. More and more MT providers are now able to prove that the MT is secure and reassure clients of their confidentiality. Language Reever, for example, uses industry-standard best practices for encryption protocols to protect data as it passes between users and translation engines. This means that all the content you translate is deleted upon download. Language Reever doesn't store the data you translate unless you choose to save it to improve your own specific MT model. Many MT providers also offer solutions in the cloud and on-premise, giving users the choice around how their data is managed. Many providers also enable the users to customize their output, allowing you to make results more relevant to the content that you translate every day. You can build dictionaries and brand lists in Language Reever that will help enforce certain terminology preferences or do not translate terms. Plus, Language Reever also supports real-time adaptation. So that's an example of how AI has been integrated into CAT tools for a while. Now, more recently, we've seen more generative AI capabilities coming to CAT tools. For those of you that don't know, generative AI is any type of AI that can be used to create new and original content. usually based on prompts. ChatGPT, DALL-E, and Midjourney are all forms of generative AI that you may have heard of. Now, as a translator, the power of generative AI really comes when you connect it to a CAT tool, your trusted translation environment, so you can leverage it while you are working. Trials, for example, has created a new app called the OpenAI Translator that enables you to connect to ChatGPT and engage with it through the use of prompts. Let's take a look at what it looks like in action. As you can see, you create a project as normal, giving your project a name, adding a file, any translation resources you wish to use, in this case machine translation, checking your settings, and then finishing. Then you open the file in the desktop editor and open the OpenAI translator view. You need to first connect Studio to your OpenAI translator account. If you don't have one, you will need to create one. Find the API key and insert that into the designated space. You can see how this works in this small video. So you create your key, and once it's generated, you copy it and take it over into Studio. Now you need to decide what you want the AI to do for you. As you can see, there are default prompts available here for you to use. You can also create your own prompts should you wish. Here we are going to select translate this text from X to Y and Z. In other words, I would like to receive 3 other suggested translations for my source content. As you can see on the right hand side of the screen, when I click into a segment, I receive alternative translations for the highlighted segments. It shows what it recommends changing using track changes and an explanation of why it recommends to make that change. So this is quite powerful and it helps with your creativity. If I want to accept any of the translation, I can use the symbol on the right of the translation and it will automatically insert it into my target segment. So we don't see this as replacing your task as a linguist, but actually supplementing and giving you feedback and creative ideas on alternative translations you may use. So this is quite powerful. So you can see is something friendly or casual, is it more playful? So you can adjust the translation into various audiences, because as we know, right, in the big discussion with machine translation was always that there's only what's the correct translation, but as we know, there are many correct translations. It all depends on the content, the audience, the company, the brand, etc. So this is available today in Trado Studio. You can download it from the App Store. And it provides you an environment where you can try out different prompts to get the best possible translations. The possibilities are only limited by your imagination and creativity. Here's some examples how you can shape these prompts. So for example, you can say, create 3 translations from this brand tagline, preserving essence and emotional resonance, or create translations of a movie title, or domain specific, so to translate this patent description into preserving all technical terminology, legal documents, or you may want to create a journalistic article, for example, where you have content in a newspaper, or other use cases such as removing gender bias, limiting the size of the text, for example, if you're translating user interfaces. So you can see it's quite powerful, and you can prompt it to suggest whatever is necessary for your translation. Of course, there are also some caveats when you are connecting to a public LLM such as ChatGPT. Firstly, it works much better with a paid subscription, as you will receive availability even when demand is high, a faster response speed, and priority access to new features. Secondly, if you are using the free version, the speed to access the OpenAI models provided via the API can be influenced by the level of traffic at any given time and may vary accordingly, resulting in potential fluctuations in performance or, in the worst case, no response at all. So if you want to efficiently, regularly use this, we recommend that you use a paid subscription. It's also important to be aware of security and confidentiality concern. With the public ChatGPT, OpenAI will collect data to optimize its large language models. So you need to be sure that you can do this with content if you have an agreement with your customer. Despite this, for non-sensitive information, this plugin is a great translation aid, as you can see. And we will evolve this to also support non-public LLMs in the future, so that you can also use this for sensitive content. The last thing I want to share with you today is how Linguistic AI can help you by providing virtual assistants in your trusted cat tool. Anyone with a smartphone, an Amazon Echo or Google Home will be familiar with what having a virtual assistant such as Siri, Alexa and others are also powered by Linguistic AI. Trados, for example, now also has its own virtual assistant called Trados CoPilot. Let's take a look. Meet Trados CoPilot, your smart virtual assistant. This CoPilot is actually as easy as you would expect. You simply click the new AI icon on the navigation bar at the top of the Trados product. It has these 4 triangles. Then Trados CoPilot is the primary interface for engaging with the Linguistic AI capabilities in the Trados platform. Those are available today. Trados CoPilot is smart, and it'll get smarter as we release more functionality and skills to the CoPilot. The first feature that we've made available through the Trados CoPilot and is available today is what we call Smart Help. Smart Help lets you query the product documentation using natural language. Anyone who's ever tried to find the right results in product documentation will know that you must choose your search terms very carefully or run the risk of the dreaded no results. With Smart Help, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just type your questions into the box using natural language, and Trados CoPilot will use Linguistic AI to find the most appropriate results from the documentation and give you links directly to those pages, which will open in the new browser tab. There's also a Show Citations button you can click on to show more detailed results from those pages. Let's see this in action. Here I'm clicking at the top of the screen to launch the Trados CoPilot. I'm going to ask it about maximum file sizes. And you can see it will give me a result from the documentation, and I can click on Show Citations to give a bit more context to the results. So you can see no longer do you need to go and search the documentation. Now let's ask it about itself and hope it doesn't get into a loop. Okay, great. It talks about himself. Now I'm going to ask it about something unrelated to the product. So we trained it on our documentation, so it shouldn't know the answer to this question. I don't know, so you see. So this is fine, great. Finally, let's find out how to add a custom report in Trados Enterprise. Clicking on the link will open the corresponding page in the product documentation, and you can find more details here. So this is released. It's very exciting. Our customers that are using this love it and have given us great feedback about this. So what are the benefits of Smart Help in your day-to-day use? So being able to use natural language helps you find answers quickly and easily. So while you're in the product, you can just type a question and it will give you an answer. You're not taken out of the context. You can easily find new ways of working to make you more productive by getting hints. And each answer provided as Smart Help comes with an exact reference to the online documentation, so you can always click through to check the answer. If you would like to learn more about Linguistic AI capability in Trados, you can find more information on our website. we have many new blogs for you to read. And as I mentioned, these are just the capabilities that are available today. We are working on many more. If you are interested in those, there is a webinar that we did last week on Linguistic AI, also giving an outlook on additional functionality that is coming. I highly recommend you watch this. The blogs are on our website, so there's 2 of them around smart help, but also generative translation engines. We didn't go into much detail in this presentation because today this is available for our enterprise customers, but over time it will also power more freelance translators and translators in general. So we're incredibly excited about this. We know there's a lot of hype around AI, but with generative AI and linguistic AI, you can see that there is real applicability in our industry, and we can be at the forefront of this. And as our CEO announced a couple of weeks ago, we say goodbye to translators and hi to language specialists. So you still play a very, very important role in the industry. But you now get many more tools to help you with your creativity, as you can see, and also make you more efficient as you're working, taking away some of the work that is not as fun, as not as valuable, so you can really focus on what you really love, which is working with language. So thanks for listening, and I hope I could give you some inspiration and insight into how linguistic AI can help you. And with that, I wish you a good rest of the conference and look forward to interacting with you. Thank you.